Wendy. How are you?
Hello, Feliciea. I'm fine, thank you. How are you doing?
Well, we are having our discussion, a continuation of our first discussion. And for people who did not listen to the first episode from Wendy Moore and Feliciea Jibson from PAGS, I'm introducing myself. I'm Feliciea Jibson, and I am the Chief Science Officer at PAGS. This is a new company that we created, and as I spoke to you at the beginning, we are very excited to announce that we've been accepted into a venture building program by eHealth Valley, which is an incubator for startups in Belgium and internationally. So loads of things. I'm very excited about what will be in start and what it is ahead for PAGS. So what about yourself, Wendy? How was the period since we met?
Everything is fine. Yes, very, very busy.
Yes.
So I have put some hats on my mood stars, Feliciea.
Fantastic. Can we see it? Oh, they look gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Can this actually be used as a Christmas trees ornament? Yeah.
Yes, they can, because you can just sew a little bit of thread through the point of the star.
Yes.
And they can hang on the Christmas trees.
Oh,
they
wow.
look fabulous. They look fabulous.
This is really, really exciting. And Wendy, you just told me at the beginning that you had a very nice offer, and you are now where the mood stars are going.
Yeah, I had the first offer, or first order rather, from a county council up north. So I'm very excited because they bought some sets and some books for a school up in Lancashire. So I was really thrilled because this is the first big order from a county council. So clearly, if I get more orders from county councils, then yeah, I'll be very happy, because that's going to be helping loads and loads of children, early years children and primary school children. So I'm delighted that my mood stars are getting into schools, but via the councils. That's a really big step.
Well, I would say these people from the county council are investing in something that is fantastic. It's very useful, and we all talked about it, how important it is to have this means of communicating the emotions. And as in our assessment, which is a PAGS profile, this is our website, www.pagsprofile.com. We also support the parents as best as we can, not as best as we can, the best we do. So we have this online profiling and progress tool that is helping them and is monitoring where the children are and what identifying the needs and what they need to do further. But as we said, we will be having a discussion today, and we are looking forward to give some strategies for our parents and educators, aren't we, Wendy? So from your point of view, what would be useful for the parents to know during this period of Christmas and preparing for the Christmas? What useful strategy would you recommend from your point of view and your experience?
I think there are many coping strategies that parents can use over the Christmas period. I think that for children especially, they're going to have big emotions over Christmas. Those emotions are going to go from excited to even frightened. We have to remember that even though older children might be very excited about Santa coming into the house and leaving presents under the tree, have to be very careful about how younger children might feel about a strange man coming into the house, because children do get a little bit wary about Santa coming into the house. Also, in my experience, children get a little bit overexcited and it makes them a bit crabby. And sometimes they will open a present and it's very hurtful for the parents because they'll say, oh, I didn't want this one. I wanted a blue one, or I wanted a red one, or whatever, you know. So I think, again, that parents ought to be able to tell their children just how lucky they are generally to be having presents, to be having a Christmas, where there are children their age all over the world that haven't got the luxury of being able to choose whether they can have a blue car or a red car. Also, children are going to get very tired, and they're going to be, again, they're going to be crabby because they're going to be tired. So it's very important for children to be able to have a regular bedroom routine, regular nighttime routine. And I was going to say, you know, if they are out carol singing, but you know what, I'm not sure whether we're going to be having too many people around the trees outside carol singing this year. It's so sad. But if they are going out, tell your child that, now look, this late night is just a once off, so that they don't expect another late night and another late night. So it's just really setting expectations. That's the best thing that you can do for your child throughout this whole Christmas period, is just to set expectations. Because just like we as adults, if we're expecting something and it doesn't happen, we get disappointed. And it's just the same for children. So just make sure that their expectations are met.
Thank you very much, Wendy. And this morning I came across to a comment from Facebook, one of the groups, which is Autism 1-to-1. They were asking what kind of presents the children on autistic spectrum will get over Christmas. And there was a lot of comments in there. Okay, they can get this, they can get that. It's so important. And you just highlighted that we keep some sort of routine. We set some expectations. We prepare them, not necessarily via social stories, but you know, in advance, that this is what is happening, this is what we're gonna do. COVID makes it totally different. It's a very different Christmas. But for the children who have a neurological condition or are on autistic spectrum, they will struggle more than the other, because there are other things that they have to be explained and they do not always understand. And it's always very good to have to keep some routines, like you just mentioned, going to bed at the same time. You know, the routine over Christmas are always, you know, blown away. And then we then have difficult times in January when we try to pull them back together and ourselves as well.
Yes.
So it's very important for us to bear this in mind and to look forward to the Christmas period and celebrate the Christmas in a different way this year. But equally, we have to think as well and realize the impact. Like, for instance, what kind of questions the children are asking over this period, how their child has been affected by COVID. From your experience, Wendy, what would you say in here?
Well, COVID has affected children in so many different ways at so many different ages. Under threes, they're very resilient. All they care about is themselves, whether they're cared for, fed, and loved. When they get a bit older, around about 5, 6, 7, and they get a little bit more aware of what's going on, then they want to know, and they have a right to know. They have a right to know what's happening. So without giving too much away or without over telling them things, just keep to the very basics. Actually ask them, what do you know about COVID? What do you think COVID is? And then you can gauge by what they're saying how much information that you need to add or take away. So that's always quite a good tip. A lot of children they're affected by the mask wearing. Now, a lot of children take great fun in wearing the masks. I'm not a great believer in that, I'm afraid. I think that it's okay if they wear them for fun and occasionally. If they're wearing them for long periods of time, it's not very beneficial for them at all. And they also are affected by masks because when their parents are picking them up from school, they're used to having a smile and a hello. They can't see that anymore. Yeah. So I think that it's all a bit sad. I think actually children are very resilient. I don't think that the mask thing affects them that much. I think the most worrying thing for children is if they have had relatives affected negatively by COVID, and then they just start to worry, is mummy going to be okay? Is daddy going to be okay? You know, when they worry about their grandparents, when can we see them again? So there are a lot of things, and I think you just have to be honest. Grandma is well, we're going to be able to see grandma, and you know, if you've got a date, if you're in grandma's support bubble, then just tell them the date you're going, and just try and reassure them as best you can. It's difficult, it really is. It's difficult because children are going to pick up things from school as well. They're going to pick up things from friends. They're going to pick up things, and they're going to they're going to worry about it. So I think the first thing is to say to children, just tell me what you know about it. Then that's a good gauge then of where to start.
That's like a conversation starter with your child. And what kind of questions you can?
Yes. I mean, just really, you know, mummy, I'm worried about COVID. Why? Why are you worried? What are you worrying about? And then you can gauge it, rather than say, oh my goodness, me too, I'm so worried about my mother-in-law and you know. Just keep very child focused. Also body language, facial expressions. When you're talking to your partner or carer or friends about COVID and the children are there, try to not talk about anything too frightening or worrying. Try and keep your body language, you know, not too fraught. And because children watch you, don't they, 24/7, because they look at you for cues and they look at you for clues, and they mimic you and they imitate you and they learn from you. So you have to be even more aware of that today with COVID around than you would at any other time, because they pick up on everything.
Yes, and it's very sad that children who will be, for instance, struggling to understand the non-verbal communication or body language, that they are more deprived of this. Or are they tolerating the mask? They don't tolerate the mask. Are they talking about emotions? They may not talk about emotions. How do you actually draw them into a conversation about emotions and how they feel? It's a very complex issue. I don't think so any of us today, we've been thinking, we started this year that we will be here after almost a year, and then we are still going to the next one, life after lockdown. How is going to be life after lockdown? How is in the UK, Wendy? How is
what?
In the UK, how is going to be the life after lockdown? How do you see it?
I think that there are two parties. There's one party that is going to be super, super cautious, just in case there's a second spike. I think the thing is, Feliciea, this will never go now. This will never go. Even if there's going to be life after lockdown, there's still COVID hanging over our heads, or a mutant version of COVID. I mean, who knows? This has been absolutely huge, and I don't think it will ever absolutely go away. And then there are going to be the parties that maybe just throw caution to the wind, and you know, there's no more mask wearing, there's no more social distancing, there's no more you know, no more bubbles. And I sometimes I worry about the impact of that on society, that so many people, and who knows when it's over. I mean, we say life after lockdown.
Yes.
I mean, you know, is there going to be a life after lockdown, or are we still going to be using those lockdown habits for the rest of our lives?
That's a very interesting questions. And also, I think we can point out that the families, some families, how they coped with this period, and they are still coping with the period. That's we faced unemployment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lots of things can change. Our social interaction has been reduced. Our travels has been reduced, and the impact that has on the family are spending more time in homes. And what do they do? So do they invest more in electronics? Do they have more entertainment? Do they fix things around the house? Is that the family dynamic is different now? So you are right. This lockdown habits may impact us forever. So
Well, I think so. I think for a lot of people, yes, it will.
Yes, absolutely. And we are as an optimistic people, and I'm also a very a positive person, and I want to look into the future. And I think would be a future. And let's say that we're not discussing big debates about the vaccine and what is going to happen, but those challenges, those transition. Let's look that the children will still make the transition from the nursery to a big school. Those challenges. How do we prepare the children for this? Because this is so important. And how do we track what is happening to them in the nursery for all this information to go to the big school, and all these packages to go with them, either digitally, either in folders and all that stuff. So what is your opinion about that?
I think with youngest, with the children that are just going from nursery to what we call big school, I think that there are lots of things that you can do to help them. There's we used to have transition books, and it was just a little book of photographs of their old nursery, when they just started at their nursery, and how they've progressed and how they've got so big and strong. And then some pictures. You can get them off the internet, or maybe ask the child's teacher to send you some pictures of the new teacher, the new classroom, some new friends, and just try and make the transition as smooth as possible. And these books really help. And they actually, children like to see how much they have progressed. And they're fascinated at when they first started nursery school, and now they're 4 or 5 and they're starting big school. They love to see things like that. So a little book like that is a very good idea. Make sure that you have a good relationship with the new school, and that it's difficult now, again, because of COVID. I mean, I don't know if children are being actually allowed into their new schools just to have a walk around. I doubt that very much. But again, that's where this transition book comes into. Also with books, I'm talking about books, reading books about going to school, Topsy and Tim, loads of Usborne books about starting school, Peppa Pig, all so many wonderful books on going to big school there. So as many of those that you can read, and just answer your child's questions as honestly as you can. Positive things, you know, focus on change as a good thing. You know, that just like when mummy starts a new job, or daddy starts a new job, or, you know, change is good, and it's all part of growing up.
Yes, change is an opportunity for learning. My former head teacher, she used to say to me,
Yes, I absolutely agree with that.
Also is an opportunity for learning. And I will add to the suggestions that you just made, that some schools can creatively make virtual tours. They can record them, they can send them via the iPhone. So now everybody has an iPhone today.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
The child can be prepared. It's about how much the child understands.
Yeah.
This is what we need to know, how much they are actually comprehend from what has been shown to them, without not physically going to the school and seeing the new class, seeing the meeting.
The Department of Education, Damien Hirst, decided that it would be a good thing that mental health awareness was taught as part of the curriculum in all primary schools in England, which I applaud, because at nursery school and in early years settings, they do learn about personal, emotional, and social development, which is quite a broad area of learning. But when they get to primary school, they start actually learning how to look after their mental health and how to recognize when their peers are struggling, which is enormous, because just think of all those youngsters that could have coping tools at that early age, so that when they get older, I'm just hoping that it will really bring the suicide rate right down. If children can learn to support each other, ask questions that will help their friends, and that doesn't come naturally. So I'm just absolutely applauding the fact that mental health awareness is being taught in primary schools. I think it's marvelous.
Yes, and I do remember that we prepared some resources when we had some mental health PowerPoints, and then we give them for free on September, and then September this year, and also helped with some schools with developing their own curriculum for the PAGC. So that is very important. And this is how PAGS comes as such an important and rich resource of information. Not only that, is the strongest companion for any child that will have to cope, will face the transition. And it's built by people who actually have a lot of experience, and practitioners and experts in the field of education and psychology, and with strong academic references. And is also, PAGS is looking at the child holistically, and then will build the recommendation based on their unique traits. So identify, and sometimes I've seen it doing wonders, because brings up unknown things about the child that the parent or the professional did even consider that, and then adapts to that child, recognizes the uniqueness, and then celebrate the success. As you just said, that children are so happy to see that where they started and where they're going. So if you see a video of yourself 1 year since you realize, oh my God, was me, and this is how much I've grown, and this is how much I realized. And when PAGS is the perfect companion, is the stronger companion for a child, and it is actually to ensure that no child is left behind, to ensure that the child is succeeding, and is empowering the parents to have a voice at the table, and to have a voice when they go to this multidisciplinary meeting, or when they go to annual review. And PAGS also aligns very well with the education and healthcare plans, because all those long those outcomes that will be, for instance, for 1 year or 2 years, PAGS provides those small steps and then will break down into achievable and is a roadmap that you can celebrate the milestones and what achieved. So I'm very passionate, and I hope that one day, like now I'm hoping that I'm really trusting that PAGS is going to go in all the schools and to all professionals and will be prescribed by the clinical psychologist and will be part of the educational healthcare plan and will be a tracking tool that will stay with the child as long as it's needed. And I'm very grateful that we have this conversation and we have this collaboration, because I strongly believe in having loads of resources that will be non-screen. I love My Mood Stars, because they are actually allowing us to have a little bit of time off from the screen and to do other activities that will be engaging in conversation, engaging this communication with parents and with the children themselves, as you just said, the peer support, the body support.
Yeah.
So if you wish to add anything else, please do. I direct people to come directly to your website. This is your email address where they can find you and find more information. This is our email address about PAGS. This is where we are. And then I think you have something in there that you want to show us. And you just showed it at the beginning.
I did. Do you want to see them again? I know you love them.
I would love to see them again because they look so amazing. Yeah. And by having those little hats, they look so cute.